Okay, so this is the second episode of the Yact podcast, and I'm here with Josh, Joshua DaCosta. If you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Joshua DaCosta. I am on this podcast because say it's my friend and stuff.
And you're pretty fast at a number of events compared to me. You're like
Everyone's fast with the number of events.
you're. I don't know if I'd call you an all-rounder, but you have some preferred events: 2x2, 3x3. Yeah, you have sub 9 averages in comp for 3x3.
Yeah.
So that qualifies you as pretty fast and world-class potential in 2x2 one day. And you've been doing a lot of work on APB recently and optimal ZBLL algorithms. And I think you've almost caught up. You haven't quite caught up, but you haven't done that many APB solves yet to catch up to where you were with CFOB.
Yeah. That's an APB solving.
So yeah, did you want to? You wanted to discuss APB. That was one of the topics you wanted to talk about. So
Yeah, so APB or AP3's parent block is a relatively new method devised by James Strauchan back during lockdown, I believe, and it features more algorithmic steps than non-algorithmic steps, and all of those algorithmic steps have been generated with finger trick optimal alg software. I don't really know how that works. They're really good and very, very short. The algorithm sets that have been devised for APB are 4, 6.51 and 8.5 something moves on average. And then you finish it ZBLL. And it is a very nice alternative to CBOT because the algorithms are very easy to learn and it is very enjoyable because you get to eat, and it is faster because you get to do algorithms. And it is a very underappreciated method, and it's got fewer algorithms and a lower move count than ZB, but it's also, I would argue, faster.
okay, I'm interested in this finger trick optimal software. I'm gonna.
That's my speech over. Say something.
I forgot I muted myself. I'm interested in the finger trick optimal software.
If you go to any of the algorithm sheets, so it's going to link them in the description of the video. There's alternate algs on a separate tab of the document, and they have different numbers on, and I believe that's sort of like the J per metric, but a different one, and it decides how good the algorithms are and ranks them.
Based on like ergonomics or?
Yeah, I think so. And
Interesting. I know there's been research into optimal keyboard layouts based on finger movement, but I didn't know if there's anything like that for cubing. Yeah, you have a great big ZBLL sheet with the optimal algs, and
I do. I have been working on it for about, January now? Since late August, so that's a bit more than 4 months, I think. Something like that. As of recording, I finished optimizing UT and L's ZBLL sets. I am going to do pi and H probably just after my next comp, and soon and anti-soon in the summer holiday.
And that next comp is this weekend.
Yeah.
And
And thing is, a lot of alg sheets have some very, very good algs, as in the best algs, but also a lot of bad algs. And for example, there are two opposite ends of the spectrum. Juju has very consistent algs, but also some of them don't use many faces, so aren't fancy and don't really get the best alg for that case. And on the other end of the spectrum is something like Terry ZBLLs, and those are so ridiculously complex that they're just not faster, even if they save 5 moves. But some of them are better, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to compile the best ones from that, and also from other sheets. So I've mainly been using ZBLL Explorer, which has everything that isn't Terry ZBLL, and also Terry ZBLL. And I would like people to learn off of my sheet because it is the best algs, and learning the best algs at the start of your ZBLL journey will let you be faster earlier, and you'll get more used to the algs from the start. And also, I have hand tested every alg for every case and timed them, and I picked the fastest one, and the fastest one only for the sheet. I am sure it is the best alg.
when you try out an alg to decide if it's good or not, how long does it take you to find it out? Because when you're learning any new alg, it will sort of be, you won't do it fast right away. You have to practice before finding out if it's good or bad.
Yeah, each case, from going on to it, seeing which case is next, to writing it down in the sheet, takes about 15 minutes, which times 500 is, I think it's about 2 days worth of working. So it's a pretty big commitment, but I'm willing to do it to help people do better, because I want to make people more aware of why ZBLL is so great and how much it can benefit. Because I think so far all of the algorithms are better than VPAM, definitely, and all of them are sub 1.2, with most of them being sub 1. I know other people have it fast, but I'm not the best at doing algs. I'm just good at doing them consistently fast.
How does that compare to your PLL times, other than VPAM?
With PLL, I get the same sort of times, but the problem is I don't turn fast, because I always seem to look up when I do that, but I don't do that with ZBLL. Maybe it's because I'm just not as used to it. I know what I'm turning rather than just blindly trusting my muscle memory.
Interesting. I mean, your turn speed seems to have reduced since you've been using more ZBLL, but you have fewer moves, so
Many fewer moves.
yeah.
And in last layer, if you're recognizing and solving in under 2 seconds, which is kind of the ultimate goal, Juani's way further than that. I haven't timed it, but he's probably doing sub 1.5 seconds every solve, recognition and execution. If you're getting 2 seconds, which is pretty reasonable after a few years of training, but you'll just do that training in your solves, it's not that difficult. You'll be saving 1.5 to 2 seconds every single solve with ZBLL. And 500 hours is completely worth that. And then you can devote the rest of your time to more efficiently making F2L plus EO, whichever way you want to do that, and just get better.
I mean, yeah, if you're sub 10, you're able to save that much from your solve, it's massive.
Okay, yeah, fine. ZBLL for sub 10 is not that good.
When would you recommend it? At what point would you say you should do this?
once you're sub 10,
Yeah.
it is good, but look ahead gets you sub 10.
I'm assuming that you're already sub 10, and that's when it would be most beneficial to save that much time.
Yeah. I've seen some people learn one set of ZBLL when they have finished OLO and PLL. That's basically what I did. I learned U, but I think 2 is better because there is one OLO. It's an H plus 2 opposite edges oriented, and it's the worst OLL case. Everyone agrees it. It's the one that's not the Colin Burns OLL, and that can be done with through rough into TZB. And yeah, and the TZBLL algs are better, which is why I recommend learning T if you're just going to learn one and stick with that for a while.
Okay, yeah, that's a good starting point. So you're kind of doing 2 look, but then you're not really because you're doing ZBLL afterwards.
Yeah, it's EO to ZB.
Okay. You also wanted to talk about. Did you want to talk about OO, or did you want to talk a bit more about ZBLL?
Yeah, we can go into OO. So objectively optimal. Brian Sutton did a video on this actually. Is I think I'm getting this right. It is something that is better for the best people in the world. For example, pseudo-slotting is optimal, objectively optimal, because Timon is one of the best in the world and he uses it. And anyway, in 2x2, what we, the 2x2 community, are doing is making something called OO, which is the best solution on every single scramble. And there's a website called TwooBeTwoo. Anthony Patorakis has a video on it, and I think we're just over 3% done with every scramble. Someone estimated a 2030 finish or something, given how long it's taken. So some more help would be greatly appreciated if we want to solve 2x2 faster.
What can you actually do with that? Because it's not like you're going to memorize all of them and then use that to when you're doing 2x2. Is the idea that you try to understand the themes or something that like a different approach that you can figure out in 15 seconds of inspection?
It's about learning as many algs as possible, because you can find OO with LBL every time, but that would be doing a 10 or 11 move layer into a last layer skip. Or you have a pre-made layer and you just do an LBL alg and that solves the queue. But the more algs you go, the less moves for the first step you have to do to find OO. Which is why someone like Yihang averages 17 or 18 moves, but well, I'm averaging sort of 11, 12-ish, and that's because I'm using a lot of LS, but that's not necessarily the best solution. I'm doing a short one, but it's not necessarily the fastest. So learning more algorithm sets. So we finally got a world's record average again by an EG1LS user, Suchan, and that's very good. It means we're winning again. And it's just so much better when they're finding OO more than half the time. If you look at Zane's reconstructions, he seems to be finding 3 out of 5 OO solutions in 15 seconds. And that's really what we need.
And so at that point, 2x2 kind of is going to hit a ceiling at some point. If people find OO 5 out of 5 times, then it's going to purely depend on ergonomics and turn speed.
Yeah. Hardware has some way to go. Even though the 2.1 Pro is the best it has been since it's come out, I don't like it that much. And there are quite a few improvements that I would like made, mainly stronger magnets. I thought magnet in 2x2 would be cool, to make it a bit faster. I also have a problem where if I'm doing more than 20 TPS on a short scramble that I'm down solving, I know that's a very good issue to have if you are doing that turn speed, but it would be nice to not have to safety a 4-mover in comp, because I don't want to go for an unbeatable world record if I get a 4-mover.
So, how if you're not down solving, how fast do you think someone could do a random 2x2 solve?
Turn speed or time?
Like turn speed, what kind of TPS?
Well, with Yact's TPS, which can get better with more practice and a better cube, 20 doesn't seem that unreasonable. And if the OO solution on 4 of the 5 solves is 10 moves or less, which is very possible, we could be looking at a
Half a second
5
average.
world record average.
Okay, so that was going to be...
It's not ridiculous at all. That's the thing. The maths says it can happen because we know it can happen.
So would you disagree with Caleb, who thinks that human limits have been reached for 2x2? Or we're pretty close?
No.
What about...
Definitely not the single.
What about pick up and put down time? Like just clean timer stops in addition to about half a second to get... How much would that be?
We probably need Gen 4 to stop repo. I've heard that Zane's been slightly a bit, but I can't see it. Although Sujan's timer starts and stops were impeccable. So everyone should be fast like him and not cause any controversy like him.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the timer stops. They're very clean, but how much? I didn't count how long it took to start and stop the timer, and how much that's going to affect the limits of 2x2 averages.
It's not that long. It's just about making sure you're confident in your solution. If I see a solution and I'm not confident in it, I sometimes pause because I'm just not confident in it, and what's the right word? Yeah, I just pause and I don't go all out.
But I mean, let's say you're confident, but you're doing a clean start and stop. Is that going to be like 0.1 seconds, for example, or how long is it going to be?
I think something about that, maybe less if we get better and practice that more. For single, we're nowhere near human limit. The best formula, which is agreed by literally every fast 2x2er, is RU R prime U, and I personally downthought that sub 0.2 with clean pickups. If I get that in comp, I am going to go all out because I want an unbeatable world record. But I don't know if that scramble has appeared in comp yet. And with the... Oh, I did a calculation today. With the number of comps we have in the UK every year, something like 50, if we say an average of 2 rounds of 2x2 per comp, I worked out it's something like once every 4 years that we're going to get a 4. So, and we've just had 2 in a year. One at a beginners competition and then one at Bolton, both of which were fumbled hugely, but they weren't very good. So
So is the strategy to go to as many comps as possible?
Well, the thing is, I can't do that because I do other things, and I want to be there to get that scramble, but it doesn't seem very lively. But there needs to be a fast 2x2 when that scramble is produced, so that we can finally have an unbeatable world record.
So, okay. What about in terms of 2026? Do you think there's a chance that the single or the average gets beaten?
Average is getting beaten. There's I'm going to make an analogy to Big Blue in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because that's the only thing I know how to compare it to. Especially near the end of the time before Mario Kart World was released, the Big Blue world record was getting broken pretty much every month, and there were many players battling it out for it, and they were all as good as each other. And I think it's the same for 2x2. So there is no best 2x2, but it's at the moment it's probably Sujan. He is very good. I know I need to stop convincing the Sujan. But it is any sub 3 solver who has seen a formula before can get world record single, so that's not to worry about. We just need more formulas. But the average is still heavily contested and very likely to be broken 10 times or something like that next year. The single, maybe we get a good four mover somewhere competitive.
Who are the 5 people you think most likely to break the average?
Okay. In first, probably Sujan, then Yuping, then Zane. I'd also put Nigel Fang up there somewhere. He's doing quite well. And he's still young, and he knows how early G1 that's. So that's good. And just because he's my friend, Max Pally.
This guy.
But he needs to learn more algs. He's not going to make it to the top without. He doesn't even know for EG2 yet. And he's got a 1 flat average.
Yeah, 7th in the world, so.
I think Anthony's a bit too old now.
Yeah. I guess that answers the question for Euro predictions.
Ooh.
What do you think's the
I forgot about Theodore.
right?
No,
Yeah.
he's replacing Max in my top 5. Sorry, Max.
Learn more algs.
Right. Theodore's winning Euros. I'd like to see Max podium, but I don't know. Oh, we know he's. Yeah. Anthony will probably do it.
You think so?
I'm not really sure about 2x2 here. There are some good Polish 2x2s. It's fun to see who wins.
Okay. Was there anything else about 2x2? You wanted to talk a bit about the alg sets. You mentioned the.
Yes. There is a massive culture of not learning algorithms because you don't need them. And I think that's a bit unfair because they are definitely better. It doesn't take much time to learn them. Oh, I timed myself learning 6 algs. It took me about 3.5 minutes because I've been practicing learning algs quickly, and I still remember them without having practiced them. And if you can learn 6 algs in 3.5 minutes, you can learn 12 algs a day in 7 minutes, maybe practice them for another 5 minutes, and you will definitely remember them. And you can get through the entirety of EG1LS in under a year, I believe. Something like that. And the time is going to pass anyway, and you're going to spend that time cubing, but you can either know EG1LS by the end of that year, or not know EG1LS by the end of the year.
But I feel like in comp, nerves might either make you forget it or not do it confidently.
That is my curse. It seems to only happen to me. But I can't do 2x2 just solving and grinding to get faster because I just get bored, and that's the same for every opponent for me. I don't know if anyone else would like that, but the only way I can improve is by learning more algorithms and getting my solutions better, and hoping that my TPS will improve over time. So my improvement focus is entirely, okay, there's this next set to learn, I think I can do it by then, or I don't think I can do it by the next comp. Let's make sure I definitely don't forget any of the algs I currently know, and I am very good at finding good setups to those algs, and I can cancel it, things like that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I'm not sure what Max's like approach or strategy is.
His approach is regrips and find 11 move layers that cancel 23 moves.
I think there is there is a strategy towards sticking to what you know and restricting it so that you're very confident in a comp. Like you're not going to mess it up. There's no ambiguity around. Wait, is it this one or that one? When your name is called
that
out.
was kind of discussed in an old JPEG video, and he talked about younger versus older cubers, and talked about how younger cubers learn a bit, like Yihang, but get very good with that, like Yi. But older cubers learn a lot, like Anthony, Zayn, and Sujan, and get very good with that a lot. And it's two different approaches, and overall learning more is going to be better because you can only get to a certain amount by learning a little bit, but we haven't got the results to show that yet, and it's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the analogy is to like chess openings, how many openings you know, and then how well you know a few openings.
I know one.
I know like 3, but I've been playing chess for like 5 years, so if you inflate the
Since the summer holidays.
you wanted to talk about cube companies going in the wrong direction. So what do you have in mind for this?
So for 3x3, they are making the cubes lighter and lighter and just
Yeah.
removing any feeling from it. They're all just exactly the same, clacky, really sandy and light. And that's because Dylan Miller talked about it in the video. It was Brian Sunny, the YouTube host. He talked about how the young Chinese cubers, they don't have very strong hands, so the hardest they can push when they're turning fast is on a light cube is just far enough to make it turn, so they can turn as fast as they can and not worry about overshooting on a light cube. But with someone like Garrett, who has much stronger hands than Yihang, needs a heavier, slower cube to...
He needs a bit more resistance.
Yeah.
I
I feel like that as well. I named the Waylong 2019 because it's just so good. it's so fast. And the corner cutting is the same as it's inside. It's the same as the GTS 3M, which is the best blind cube in the world because of its amazing corner cutting and great slices, which allow for fancy algorithms. And it's that, but without ridges, so it's just better. And I have magleved it, and it's the version with the PyCube ball core, which makes it more stable. And it is very heavy, but it is just better. And most cubers prefer that, but they just can't get that because the market has swayed away from that, because that's not what the Chinese cubers use.
Kids. I mean, my theory was that we had the 12, which everyone loved, and then the 13 and the 14 came out, and they were increasingly heavier because they were so much more customizable, and no one really cared about that. It wasn't that useful. It just slowed things down. And then the 15 and then the 16 sort of tried to do what the 12 did, pretty much. In terms of getting rid of a lot of that unnecessary customization and weight.
The 11 and 12 were very light cubes. I didn't and still don't like either of them. The 13...
The 12 is my main.
The 12 with better corner cutting, but it was really expensive and it didn't catch on very well. And the 14 was garbage. So let's not talk about that. The 15 was a 12 that's lighter and faster, and I don't think anyone still uses it.
I stopped using my 15 because it wasn't consistent. Like, I'd have to keep relubing it.
I believe the new black one was slightly heavier, and that one was actually alright, but the corner cutting just was a bit weird. The 16 is a very bad mode. And all mode cubes are beginning to be the same, and also at the same time just GAN cubes.
Yeah, there is that overlap now. Like Caleb, who was on last, he now likes the V100 and the 16, even though he's a MoU fan, and I think it's because it has a MoU cube feel to it.
Well, it's not the feel of MoU, it's the feeling of the new MoU, like
Right, yeah.
The Super RS3Ms, they feel like the 16. The Super RS3M V2s, I like those, but they were just bad corner cutting. And the old MoU feel is undoubtedly the best feel. I will fight you if you disagree. And they're just straying away from that because that's not what the fast cubes are using because they're so small. And being fast, Timon is sponsored by GAN, so he has to use a GAN cube, even though they're not that good. Oh, and it's all being marketed for very new cubers. It's customization, it's faster, more magnets. It says nowhere that it's actually good. And it isn't good. And GAN used to be very good, but it's just not anymore.
What about for OH and for RU? I think a lot of people that do one or either of those, I think especially RU, they prefer older cubes with weaker magnets because slice smooth you get twice the resistance if you have strong magnets.
RU is okay for 100 if you're struggling with CFOP, but CFOP is just better. We have both world records.
I meant more along the lines of whether the cubes are good for it or not.
Yeah.
The modern cubes versus the older ones. Like a lot of them use pretty old pre-old no use. They prefer to use. I've noticed.
For a very long time, Juliet Sebastian was using the Waylong 2019 because it's so fast and the corner cutting is so good. And a few other solvers were doing that as well. And then new cubes came along that were a bit faster, and they're all stuck on the RS3MV5, even though they hate it. The world record single holder, I can't remember his name, but he keeps complaining about it.
Druva?
Yeah, Druva.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I saw that video.
yes, I hated the cube. It's not good. Everyone likes it. They're wrong. The way number 10 and 11 are bad. Everyone who likes it is wrong. And it's everyone needs to go back to older cubes because they are better. They just are.
How could the older cubes have actually improved instead of going down what you think is the wrong route? Like, what should they have done instead?
I heard about a special mod that Chris Tran did on the Waylong 2019, which was a polymer mod where he coated the internal pieces in some kind of polymer that made it faster. And that sounds cool. What we really need is they need to make cubes that have better corner cutting and are smoother, and maybe instead of just improving, they make different puzzles that are better for different people instead of trying to constantly increase the price of through additional magnetization of existing cubes.
So instead of having more customization, having separate kinds of cubes, like this is for this sort of person, this sort of turner. And this is for 3x3. What about for other puzzles? How do you think they're improving or declining or not innovating?
For big cubes, they're just adding more magnets, and that is bad. People think big cubes need to be stable, but they're already stable. If you're popping, you need to tighten it. It's worked for me, and my GAN 5x5 was popping, and then I realised I just needed to tighten it, and the issue went away, and it's not restraining my solves or anything. Magnets, although not very much, slow the puzzle down, and that is worse for big cubes because it means you can't turn as fast, and turning fast is the only thing that matters in big cubes. If you use 200 more moves on a 7x7 solve, and you turn it twice the speed, it's always going to be worth it. Because look ahead and turn speed work together so well to create a good solve, and that is why max parties think the best.
Okay, slight tangent, but Yao versus reduction on big cubes. You use Yao, but what do you think is best, or do you think it doesn't make a difference?
Yao is definitely faster on 4x4 and 5x5. I use Yao on 6x6 and 7x7 because I think reduction is better, but I keep doing Yao because I never practiced them and I just instinctively do Yao, and I don't care about 6x6 and 7x7. The last time I picked one up was in my last official solve, and I can't bother to change. Reduction's probably better.
I switched to Yao for everything recently because I hate edge pairing on big cubes because I don't do big cubes enough, so it takes ages, and then having 12 edges is very demotivating when you've done centers to do all at once. Well, and I found that Yao didn't really slow me down in, like, it just made me rotate less, but yeah, I don't really know what's optimal. I just know that prefer to practice with Yao than reduction.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that'll make a bigger difference what you prefer to practice. But so, do you think that over the long run, the reduction, the gap between reduction and Yao will like increase in terms of records, or do you think that they're like not that far, even if one is slightly better?
I don't know. I feel like Max Park is not going to hold on to 6x6 for much longer. He hasn't won the past two worlds and did lose his world record. I think both world records. Definitely the average. I don't know about the single to Sun Nam. So he's beginning to slip in that. But him with reduction on 7x7 is not going to be beaten until he quits, which I don't think is happening.
Okay. So back to the cube companies.
Yeah.
We talked about 3x3 and big cubes. You already mentioned 2x2. So I guess that leaves Pyraminx, Megaminx. I don't know anything about Clock, Square One, or Cube, but you can talk about.
Pyraminx, you just need the non-maglev Waylong with a magnetic core and a tip mod and a good setup, and that's just the best. The Skew is definitely began. With the LBL core mod, I've tried it on Ariel's Skew. It is so much better. I really need to get it before they run out of stock. On Megaminx, a lot of people like the GAN. I prefer the Diane just because I really love the feeling of Diane puzzles. It's the same thing. And they have come out with the Pro Plus, I think, which is maglev. And I haven't tried it, but I think it's going to be better than the existing Diane puzzles. So that's probably me. What else is left? Squad. Get the MGC and maglev it. That's it.
So it sounds like, according to you, it sounds like hardware is close to peaked. Like, if I'm understanding you correctly, in let's say 10 years' time, when we look at how much records have improved, that most of it won't be due to hardware, like we could say for it was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
The clock world records suddenly dropped loads when the tube clock was released, and then they dropped loads when the 7 cycle was invented. And I think we're going to see more innovation-based world records than hardware-based world records from now on.
How do you feel
And I
about
hope
that?
so because they're more exciting.
Okay, that's the answer. It makes it hard to compare greats over time when the hardware is different.
Yes. But also the methods were worse. So they were using more moves, worse moves, and not being able to turn as fast. Which is why Felix's records are so impressive. He's something like his last world record, I think, was something like a second off of the current OH world record single. And with terrible cubes, and I think he was Bob, so yeah, kind of the best method, but it still wasn't fully developed into the ZB monster that we have today. It's extremely impressive.
Wasn't his last world record? Isn't that the one where he did zeroing on? The one where he did some fancy commentator for like 3 corners or something?
I don't know.
I don't know if it was his last one. One of them was. Laser Monkey did a reconstruction of it.
412 OCR?
It was world record at the time, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So he cancelled into a ZBLL, but didn't even know. Turned out to be using the best out, and it's something the case.
Yeah, Felix is a legend.
It's beyond good.
Did you want to talk about Scube and maybe a certain NR holder who's also your good friend?
Yeah. So basically, Ariel's my friend, Euros podiumer, 182 average. First person to learn full TCLL on Scube. Maybe the last person to learn full TCLL on Scube. Hopefully not though, because it looked really cool.
See, I always find that interesting when someone is the first to do something in cubing, where it's like, how are they so sure it's a good idea when they haven't seen someone do it before to take it to that level? I'll ask him next time I see him. But how many algs is it? How many cases?
360, and then 720 for pseudo TCLL, which is where you have one of the two side corners oriented, so you can do one move in pseudo into NS.
Mhm.
My main advice from listening to him is don't learn there is advanced, just go to NS, because it's so good. The algs are actually great. I don't. It took me a month of pretty relaxed learning algs whilst learning other stuff, and it cut my times down by over a second.
What are your top 5 events that you practice? Now Scube is part of that list, but
So the one I'm probably practicing the most is 3x3, because I can't practice 2x2 for that long due to how small it is and how similar all the scrambles are, and it just gets a bit boring. Then 2x2. Then Scube. Then one-handed. Then FMC.
okay.
And FMC is objectively the best event. It is not age-based, it is entirely skill-based. Yes, it's a bit luck-based, but it's only luck-based if you're world-class.
Did you want to make any FMC predictions for what will happen for?
We need a 15 this year. Lots of people have had it at home. Lots of 15 scrambles have appeared officially. We had a 12 scramble in somewhere in South America in 2016. It was extra 2 in a 3x3 final, and no one got it. The 12-move solution was really obvious. That's an FMC cool.
Do you think we've peaked in terms of FMC methods, that it's just DR, or do you think there's room for improvement there?
DR is optimal for a computer that can find optimal DRs and optimal finishes of DRs and just vary the length of the DR until making a longer DR would be unsensible, because if you have an 18-move DR into a solved cube, then it's not sensible to look for a 19-move DR, because that's not going to help. So a computer can do it optimally. I don't know about humans. HTR is way too difficult. People keep saying there's this good guide. I looked at it, I can't make sense of it. I don't know if I'm just being stupid or if it's actually good difficult. Block building seems to be about as good if you get good at it. I recently discovered that there's an entire part of the FMC Discord server devoted to block building, and one of the main contributors, Doug Lee, is amazing with block building. Averages, well, from what I've seen, better than most of the world-class DR solvers. And I think that would be much more enjoyable to me to get good at FMC with a method that's about creativity rather than a method where you can't do anything linearly because it's so complicated. With HTR, there is no method to solve it linearly. You always have to find a corner solution and then see if some way of making edges, putting edges into an HTR state allows you to put other edges later in the corner solution into an HTR state. And it's just, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. And then HTRs are all terrible. And if you get a good one, then you're extremely lucky. And it seems like instead of spending all that time doing that, you could instead try a creative block solution, find a 5-corner skeleton in 13 moves, get 16 minus 7 and get a 20. And it's just a much nicer and, I'd argue, a much more human way of solving FMC.
That's good to hear, because one opinion that I heard was that DR was kind of killing the creativity in FMC, that it was sort of becoming this weird mechanical process where there's just everyone doing this one method. But if block building can still do better than world-class DR solvers, then at the top level you can still be creative in FMC. And then okay. Did you want to make any predictions for world record single averages for this year? Very simple.
Sub 3 on 3 by 3.
Who do you think's doing that, and what time are we looking at?
Well, we know it's Yiheng or Zhuan.
Yeah.
Don't know who. No one knows who. And we're looking at. I want it to be a very high 2, like Caleb said, 299 or that sort of thing. But I think it's going to be under 2.7. They're going to get an insanely good scramble, do 15 TPS, and crash through the sub 3 barrel. And I also think Zhuanyi is going to overtake Yihang in average this year.
I think that's possible. Yeah, I mean...
One thing we have to remember is Zhuanyi is something like 2 years younger than Yihang. So, when Yihang quits, Zhuanyi will just be better and be better than Yihang was at his age.
I think he's gonna be just the best ever, because he plans like all of F2L, like crazy efficient solutions, and then he basically just 2 looks at efficiently with crazy TPS. I don't think anyone's on track to do better than that. Like, once he meets his potential, I think.
I wonder if that ability will worsen as he gets older, because it's a bit unfair at the moment because he's young and being old. But it would be pretty broken if he were old enough to understand why he needs to learn algs and different pair solutions, such as SR and S prime, or inserting some bad pairs, and he can still won the entirety of F2L and Neo.
I just think it's insane that people can. It's not just that he can one look F2L, it's that he can do it with complicated solutions, with like pseudo X crosses.
When you're one looking, you don't have to be worrying about pseudo recognition. It's, is this better? Yes, it is. I'm sending it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not actually sure what that'll do for. That'll just kill 3x3, right? Like if there's one crazy guy, no one can get close to him, and like just the limits of what humans can do. What we'll do instead?
I'd like to see a 4-pad reset of all world records, so that we can make cubing unbroken again. Because fundamentally it's a hobby, and well, if people want to go for a world record, they have to have a realistic hope that they can break the world record. But if it's already too far gone, then we're going to lose some people who could have tried. And 4-pad could change the rankings a bit. It might impact older solvers like Phoenix, who may not be getting as good averages these days, but it also might it would definitely stop sliding, and that is something we need.
I'm not sure if we can get resetting world records to pass. I think
they did it for cup stacking. We need FTO.
I was gonna ask that, yeah. Like, do you think there's a chance of FTO becoming an official event? The last official event was it Skewed? The last one that they added?
Yes, in 2013.
Yeah, so it's been a
We
while.
are in dire need of a new event. Clock would have been removed if 7 Simon wasn't invented. Let's be honest. I'd also like to see. This isn't a particularly spectator-friendly event, but mega multi-blind. Where you get an unlimited time limit. And you can
okay. You mean the Graham Siggins version of multi-blind and not literally Mega Minx? When you said Mega, I was scared there for a second.
Yeah. Also, downsolving would be good if you had an hour where it was sort of FMC style. You are sat down at a table with a pen and the paper and the scramble and a cube. You can't use any electronics if you're finding the best solution you can speed-wise, and then at the end of the hour, everyone puts their hands on the timer at the same time, solves it, and stops the timer.
Yeah.
That would be a fun event.
I think it would be fun. In I don't know if you know, but in Stevenage we're doing like an unofficial downsolving.
No, bring me my computer so that I can consult what's it called? Cube Explorer.
Yeah. I just started writing a Cosiemba style cube solver. I don't know how much you know about that, but yeah, I don't think it'll be ready for then, so probably I'll either...
Why? Why?
So I can have a cube solver. So I can use it in Yact.
Well, the problem with that is it takes 5 minutes to find the optimal solution.
So the Cosiemba algorithm can find an efficient solution pretty quickly. If you run it for longer, you can get to the optimal one, but you can generally find something
22.
Yeah, pretty fast, and I think that's probably good enough for me.
Yeah, which is so good.
Yeah, um, but yeah, I think those would be good events. What do you think of the head-to-head format announcement by the WCA?
Garbage.
What's wrong with it?
It removes the chance of clutching world record averaging finals, which is what we'd love to see. Everyone went wild when T1 did his 5x5 at Worlds. Um,
Well, they're not saying they're going to change every finals to it. They're saying they're going to sometimes do head-to-head finals in major championships.
yeah, but it just makes it more about competing against the person you're paired with rather than trying your best. And I don't like the particularly encouraging.
Okay. I mean, for like the first decade that I've been cubing, it's just been me getting the best times I can because I wasn't really competing. But I like Monkey League a lot. I liked the
It's fun to watch.
yeah.
But the WCA is prioritising spectator friendly far too much and not focusing on top keepers. The PSL is sort of doing it, but they are just streaming everything and spotlights and big solving station, head to head, solving brackets, big venues in America, and it's all about spectators. And they're making loads of changes to get keeping it, but from what I've heard, getting keeping it to the Olympics, which we don't need. If chess is to like the Olympics,
I don't think they're literally trying to put it in the Olympics, but I think in a couple of countries, chess is classified as a sport, and so people are able to get funding to do it, basically.
well, by the definition of a sport, it requires physical exertion.
There's more of that in cubing than in chess.
If chess requires physical exertion, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, although especially kids that play chess, they tend to walk around a lot instead of playing their moves.
It's not physical exertion.
um, but if let's say we get the full pad mode reset, and then despite that we have Xuanyi doing two look CFOP perfectly with like 15 TPS and getting like
That's still fine. He can do that, and that's amazing. We know we'll never be able to do that, so we need to come up with a better solving method. APB.
Right, and then you challenge him for the throne.
No.
One of your students. But I mean, like with like sprinting, I can't remember when Usain Bolt set his 9.56.
2008?
Yeah, so it's been about almost 18 years and no world records, but there's other kinds of records, there's other ways of trying to make people care about sprinters, who's fast now, what age they got some record, whether it's a continental one or whatever. There, who was first in the Olympics or something like that. So
The reason why it's not been broken is because Usain Bolt is just better. He is once in a lifetime and a better human at sprinting may not come before the world is inevitably blown apart. But it could happen. It's unlikely to happen, given how long it's been. It would be cool if it happened.
yeah, I mean, people are trying. I don't. People don't really expect it though. Um, I think if you have an unbeatable record, you need some other thing to aspire to do, some some other thing to be motivated to compete, but also to watch it.
Every time we get an unbeatable record, we should introduce another thing that makes it slower, so that we can have an unbeatable world record.
Well, the Great Reset, and then
Yeah.
you can only not be Usain Bolt. Um.
What else should we talk about?
So yeah, those were the topics that I had listed. Um. Was there any other topic you wanted to discuss?
Um, oh yes, Sayed is going to link my ZBLL doc in the description.
Yep.
If you have any better algs, where I have probably seen it, but I'm happy to take any suggestions. I will try the alg and see if it's better than the one on the sheet. Please comment the alg in the relevant alg picture on the sheet.
And I remember now. So yeah, you have exams this year, but what cubing goals do you have this year? Presumably they're related to APB and ZBLL.
I'd like to be an APB main.
Mhm.
Because it's just so much more interesting and faster for me. And I would like to finish getting ZBLL optimized, because everything else in APB has been optimized, so it would be nice to be using it optimally. And also, it's sad that people are using terrible algs. Because there's so much more that we can do with modern hardware. Oh yeah, that's why hardware's so good, because we can do fancier algs that are just faster, and then we get faster.
By fancier algs, do you mean S moves?
Yeah. At the 10th anniversary Stevenage, I showed what's his name? Callum Hale's Jet, a ZBLL alg. He was one of the first 5 ZBLL learners ever, I think. And he knew a very long RUL alg. But then I showed him a really fancy alg that's much faster. And he was quite surprised by it, because when he was learning it, and had probably forgotten most of it by now, the algs weren't good. And if the algs were good, due to better hardware, he could have learned better algs and maybe still remember ZBLL, which is only a good thing.
So
Not to have a dig at him, but it is a thing that can be avoided.
makes sense, and I think explains why there's more of a focus on ZBLL now. Not just that there's more tryhards, that hardware permits it.
Yeah.
Are you going to do APB in Stevenage this weekend? Or are you going to just do TFOP in the first round at least?
If I see a good first block, I will do it. But I am 1.5 seconds faster with CFOP, so I'll probably stick with that. But it would be a nice surprise to, on the day, find that I am actually faster with APB, so I am still practicing. But the first block is a really hard step to get good at quickly.
Yeah, I mean, show me an example when we next meet. Do you know what the unofficial APB NR is?
I don't know if there is even an NR.
So if you do it,
the
you'll
world
be
record is a mid 4, I think.
and for average.
Average is probably sub 8, but that's because it's not been around for very long and not very many people use it. Top solvers for Root have managed to average under 7 moves for the first block. But top solvers with CFOP average something like less than 5 moves for cross, and EO cross for ZZ is less than 9 moves, but it's much easier to plan the first block due to just being cross with EO added, and you can influence the EO too. It's like doing 2 steps, but they're both really easy steps, and you can cancel in between the steps rather than there are random pieces that are completely different sprinkled throughout the cube. Find a way to put them together. And the cross is good because it uses lots of centres and very few pieces, and the pieces are all of the same type. So that's in its favour.
So, I mean, everyone, like, every method has to start with one proponent, right? How soon do you think you can catch up to your CFOP times with APB?
Definitely by the end of the year. I'd like to before Euros, because that would be fun. I keep going back to CFOP at comps and then kind of give up on APB because I'm just faster at the moment with CFOP. But if I were able to convince myself to, okay, let's sacrifice one competition so that I can finally become better with APB, because it would be better in the long run, I could switch to it and all would be good in the world.
I mean, if you do APB in first round, you are going to make it to the second round at your current speed.
Am I though?
What do you average now with APB?
11, maybe sub 11.
Yeah, you'll make it to the next round. Like, most of the time, unless if it's some ridiculous, like, most of the time, if you're like sub 15 or whatever, you'll make it to the next round. I know because I usually make it to the second round.
Yeah, I might do first round with APB. That's
Yeah.
a good idea, actually.
Second round, be more risk averse. Do CFOP.
Definitely I'm going CFOP because I want to make finals for once.
Do you remember what the how many people make it to the past the second round?
75%.
75%.
And then 20 or something to finals.
20. Okay.
Sometimes it's 40 if they have 2 groups.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure about. How many rounds of 3x3 there are?
They have 3 of this. 2 rounds of 2x2. That's all I care about.
So who makes it to okay, so top 75% and then top 20 to finals.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is usually like sub 10, so yeah, CFOP.
Yeah. 9.7 usually makes finals. No, sorry. 9.7 does make finals. Anything less than that could make finals, but sometimes doesn't.
So that should be your target with APB, not your CFOP speed, but finals speed.
The problem is final speed is faster than my C-bomb speed.
Well, it is now, but you can make it. Just be calm.
And the problem with ATB is that it is completely unviable for anything other than 3x3 two-handed. Can't use it for one-handed. I know people try, but it's just not as good. And people use it for big cubes, but with all the fancy stuff, it's... So I've learned the bishop ZBLS, so I can stay sort of content with my 3x3 stage on big cubes.
What do you use for one-handed now?
I still use it, well,
There's this other method you're playing around with.
And maintaining a high TPS is all that matters. If I get a 60 move solve at 5 TPS, I get a 12. But if I get a 50 move solve at 3 TPS, I get something that's slower than a 12. I get a 60. So it's all about TPS, which is what CFOP brings.
I don't know. I think the rude people disagree with you there.
Well, the rude people are wrong because we've got both world records.
Okay, what are your OH predictions? Who do you think gets it for 2026?
I'd like Juju to get world record average because she has developed OHZBLL and OHZBLL. And as far as I know, she's the only user of those. And I would like to see them become mainstream for one-handed so I can force myself to learn. That's probably not going to happen. I don't think we're going to end the year with any rulers with the world record.
You don't think Nicholas Archer's going to get it?
No. The single's not being broken. Not this year.
Yeah, I don't think the single will, but I think the average can.
It's like a second off of world best. I think. Don't quote me on that. But it's crazy good. And I think tied WR2 is BFOP, and the other one is Rue. But we've got two of the top three results and the best average. That was really good. We've got another good CFOPper. I think Andre Shea. He's very good at one-handed. Using quite a bit of ZBLL now. Would be nice to see it get a world record with ZBLL.
What are your Euros OH predictions?
So, what were we talking about?
OH Euros predictions.
Yes. Druva wins. Narcha in second. Oh no, the Polish guy in second, then Narcha.
Who's the Polish guy?
I can't remember his name, but he's been doing really well recently.
And what kind of time do you think will win it? Do you think be like an 8 average or
8.10. I think we're going to see those three get very, very good times, and the last solve will decide.
well, hopefully I see it in person.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Or a world record in finals. Would be even cooler.
Yeah. Well, I want Nicholas Archer to get it. Uh,
That's just being biased.
well, I'm biased.
I can't want him to win because he uses Rue. Although that's kind of really biased. Hey ho.
Rue hater.
Yes, I am a Rue hater. What else should we talk about?
Okay. Ranking Cubers.
Okay.
Who do you think are the greatest?
Greatest of all time?
Yeah.
Phoenix. Then Max Park.
Yeah, I agree with both those choices. And then Timon.
Yeah, he's actually been doing it for a while.
And then after that, I have to put Yuheng.
He's not been doing it for very long though.
He hasn't been doing it for very long, but he's been doing it at a crazier level.
Good for 3 or 4 years. So, Felix was ultra dominant for
Like a
what was
decade.
it, 11 years or something. Or maybe it was 8 years. Still, that's twice, or more than twice, what Heng's been doing it for. And he was.
That's why I put Felix first, because he had the dominance, and he's the first person to get there. But I think Yuheng's done it for long enough to be like fourth on the list.
I would put someone like Patrick Thompson.
You think so?
Yeah. Maybe Luke Garrett.
Maybe Luke. I wouldn't say Patrick because although he's great, he did it during the Felix era where Felix was better. So
Well, Jaden McNeil's good.
yeah. I was thinking like
One of the Egg-Bells.
Hmm?
Maybe one of the Egg-Bells. They're pretty great.
or the Vyers.
Yeah. Yeah. They're good as well. Winning Worlds really helps become great. Every round helps.
Yeah, and winning it twice is even better.
Anything else?
I think that's all the topics I had in mind. Yeah, unless if you had anything else.
Okay. I think I've done as well.
All right, well, yeah, thanks for joining, Josh, and I'll see you soon. I'll link the Alg sheet in the description.
And there are some other things as well.
What else did you want to link?
Maybe when you watch the footage back, you'll.
Yeah, I'll edit it tomorrow and I'll ask you.
That's have a massive pause.
Yeah. I call that last layer recognition.
And you should timestamp the video into different sections.
I'll have a look at doing it. I haven't done that before, but I'll see how to do it.
I find that more interesting to watch than one long ramble, because I can go to bits I'm interested in.
Yeah, and then I guess they can even become clips after that.
Yes.
You said about people reaching out to you if they think they have better algs. Is that just through the Google Docs mechanism, or is there a certain place?
Through that, I'm on the Yact Discord server quite a lot. you can DM me if you find me somewhere. I'm happy to answer all questions you may have.
All right, I'll put a link to that, to the server where they can find you in the description as well. And yeah, thanks for being the second guest on this podcast, Josh, and
Thank you for
answering
having
my
me.
questions. No problem. And yeah, I'll see you around.